Family life and MPVs should be a marriage made in heaven, shouldn't they? Even when the MPV in question is the company's first ever bash at building such a thing. To find out, I, along with my wife and daughter, have been putting BMW's first ever MPV, the Series Gran Tourer, through the toughest test I could possibly imagine. Everyday family life in southwest London. And it's certainly been an extensive test. In those few months, we've driven the best part of 5,000 miles and been all over the country in an attempt to find out just how good this multi-purpose vehicle really is. So not only has the Series accompanied me on all those little errands that family life demands, trip to the shop, to the tip, and on one really rather eventful Sunday evening to the hospital, it's also been with us on a couple of family holidays. Then of course, it's also taken me on countless work trips. And that means everything from my regular commute to attending far-flung car launches and even the occasional 400-mile round trip to Auto Trader's head office in Manchester. Now though, we've come to the end of our time with the car, so we're taking a chance to look back and let you know just what we think of it. What I like most about this 7-seat family car is that it doesn't really look like a 7-seat family car. Okay, so you can't hide that basically boxy shape, with the big wheels and the M Sport body kit give it a sporty edge that sets it apart from other MPVs. It is an MPV though, so practicality is hugely important. And the good news is that it scores really well on that front. It's easy to get our daughter and her chair in and out of the rear seat, and that big boot has swallowed everything we've thrown at it on family holidays. I love this iDrive system. Car makers have been struggling for ages to work out different ways to help drivers access all the various systems built into the cars, but I think the iDrive system is probably the most successful. It took me precious little time to get used to it, and now I'm twirling and clicking my way through the menus to my heart's content. The engine and gearbox work really well together. The 2-litre turbo diesel is smooth and strong, and not only is the 8-speed automatic almost always in the right gear at the right time, it's really quick to respond when it isn't. Any BMW, even when it's an MPV, should be good to drive, and the good news is that the Gran Tourer is. It's far sharper to drive than anyone might expect of an MPV, especially with this M Sport trim. And in fact, I'd go so far as to say there's no 7-seat MPV that's a more rewarding drive. Trouble is, there is a downside to that sharp handling, and it comes in the shape of ride comfort, or rather, the lack of it. It's particularly rough at low speeds, and to such an extent that I wish the sat-nav would let you demand a route that avoided sleeping policemen. I remember one particularly bad occasion when this car hit a series of bumps so hard that it woke up my daughter who'd been asleep in the back seat until that point, and that is very definitely not a good thing. Likewise, the car's refinement has been a major bugbear, with the road noise on motorways a particular problem. On some sections of the M25, which is all too often an unavoidable part of any journey, the noise is simply deafening, and even with my taste in music, I can't drown it out. The BMW badge may convey many things, high quality and a good drive for a start, but it also means a high price. If you just want to buy a 7-seat MPV, there are lots of cheaper ways to do it. In fact, it's not really a full 7-seater. There isn't enough room for a couple of adults in this third row of seats, so I very soon came to regard the car either as a 5+2 or just a 5-seater with a really big boot. Now, there's nothing fundamentally wrong with xDrive, but I can count on the fingers of one foot the number of times I've actually needed 4-wheel drive over the last few months. If I was choosing this car again, I'd certainly go for a more economical 2-wheel drive model. We've come to Barron's in Farnborough to hear direct from the company a little bit about the kind of people who buy cars like this. And the first thing I've learned is that, surprise, surprise, I'm not exactly typical. The most popular colour for this car for a start is black, grey and white, not blue, and the most popular engines, the 218i and the 218D. However, the 220D X-Drive M Sport like mine is not far off being the most popular model. It's second only to the 218D Luxury and accounts for about 10% of overall sales. Anyway, enough rambling about the 2 Series in general. What about my car in particular? What did I like about it, and if I was choosing it again, which boxes would I tick on the options list? Fortunately, an M Sport 2 Series comes extremely well equipped, particularly for safety features. But even so, this particular car came fitted with lots of options, and some of them I think are absolutely essential. First to fall into that category is the head-up display. It's something I use on pretty much every journey to see my speed and the sat-nav directions. It's been an absolute godsend on several occasions, but particularly when trying to find my way through Manchester city centre in the rush hour when you daren't take your eyes off the road for more than a second. It comes as part of the Navigation Plus package, which is expensive, but as far as I'm concerned, worth every penny. Not only do you get this much smarter, larger display, you also get clever stuff like the real-time traffic information, and that's something I use all the time, trying to plot my way through all the various traffic black spots of southwest London. The front and rear parking sensors are vital too, because to say the least, the view from this driver's seat is really limited. So again, there's something I use every time I drive the car. Now we come to something a little more frivolous. And I never thought I'd recommend a sunroof that cost the best part of £1,000. But this panoramic job brightens up the interior a treat, and rolling it backwards and forwards keeps our daughter amused for hours.
There's windows up there.
Then there are the Harman Kardon stereo, the heated front seats and the tinted glass in the rear windows, all vital accessories in my book. Unlike the bike rack preparation, the sport automatic transmission and the automatically dimming mirrors. All things I know I could live without. Finally, I have to admit I'm not completely sold on M Sport trim. Yes, I know it makes the car look great, but these big wheels and that sport suspension compromise the car's comfort just that little bit too much for my liking. Instead, I reckon one of the lesser trims would be much more suited to a family car. This may be BMW's first go at building an MPV, but that inexperience doesn't show. It's spacious, practical and easy to use, as well as having a host of really nice little touches. Best of all, it even throws in some unexpected pleasures on top, not least of which is the amount of fun it lets a driver have when no one else is on board. In other words, it's a fine blend of fun and function. Of course, it's not cheap, but then again, what BMW is? At least the 2 Series does leave you with the impression you'll get something rather more than just a run-of-the-mill MPV, and that makes it feel like reasonable value. That said, as you'll probably have gathered by now, if I was going to buy a 2 Series Gran Tourer, I wouldn't buy one in this exact specification. However, I definitely would buy one. Just a cheaper and more comfortable one.